Good evening, everyone. If you can hear my voice, please give me some thank you, Alderman Mortland, everybody. Thank you very much, one and all. Good evening. Welcome to our work session, Monday, October 12th, 2020. The principal item on our work session tonight is a review of the is a budget presentation. And it's just that. It is a presentation. It is very early in the process. As you might know or might recall that since the onset of the pandemic and our inability to gather more directly and more regularly, we have been pushing out financial information for two reasons. Number one, because we're in serious times economically, and the board needs this information in order to make decisions in setting policy as we go forward. And number two, for the process that we are about to begin, and that's the budget process. And my goal, and I hope I've satisfied it well, is that everybody has this information early and often, as they say. We've given regular updates. We had an extended conversation at our retreat about where we are and where we may need to go. Ms. Wright has been doing yeoman's work in making projections based upon best available information and keeping us posted to the best of her abilities. And in my mind, they have been extraordinary. So tonight's a presentation by her. It's largely just that. Her slides will run about 20 minutes. That takes us to 10 minutes to 6, whereupon we should turn our attention to the regular meeting agenda. There will be, from here, we go to the Ways and Means Commission. Alderman Allen has been involved in this process, working with me every step of the way. And she will take it over as of when, Alderman, this Friday, I believe, your commission's meeting. And then we'll come back to the board with a report on that process and recommendation. And then the board will become more actively involved in not only the presentations, but the inquiry of staff, inquiry of me, and a public hearing and first reading and second reading of our budget bills. So as you can see, this is front loaded, and it's front loaded for those reasons. Without further ado, Ms. Wrights, the floor is yours. You're on mute, ma'am, and she has a number of slides that I believe she will submit for your consideration, and take it away.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Let's see if I can get my screen shared. There we go. A little slow. As the mayor said, this is really just kind of a brief preview for you so that we can show you where we are at this point. It's not the complete budget, but it gives you an idea of where we're heading. So our budget development process for this year was very similar to what it's been in prior years. Our goals were a little bit different. This year, our goal was really to keep the budgets as low as possible while maintaining critical services to the community, and that being and focusing on health, safety, and the maintenance of our infrastructure. We requested departments to look for ways to cut costs, reduce contracts where possible, and look at the rebidding process of those contracts very seriously. So our process really, again, it was the same. The departments created their budgets. They were then reviewed by myself and the assistant finance director for completeness as much as possible. We looked at prior years to make sure that everything was in the budgets that needed to be in the budgets, that they made sense kind of comparing year to year, et cetera. Then the budgets were reviewed by the city administrator, Mr. Shelton, by the mayor. They've gone to some of the commissions, their respective commissions so far. And then, of course, then the presentation to the board. Where we are now is we're really still in that process of review. Commissions are still looking at the budgets. We're still looking at the data. Every couple of weeks, I look at revenues to see where we are. We will have another sales tax distribution from the county in a couple days. So I will do a comprehensive review of sales tax again at that point. And we're just trying to collect as much data as possible so that when we do kind of close off the budget, we have it as updated as we can get. We will, so as I say, we will continue to update the numbers really just through about the end of October. So we're not really that far away. The Ways and Means Commission will be meeting on October 16th, as was mentioned by the mayor, and that will be their first review of the 2021 budget. The Board of Aldermen work session will be November 9th, so you will get more detailed information on the budget. Public hearing and the first reading of the budget will be November 23rd, with the second reading and finalization by December 14th. We obviously make a lot of assumptions with the budget. So these are some of those. At this point, our sales tax loss for 2020 is about 1.4 million when you compare the actual sales tax receipts that we received in 2019. In 2021, I'm anticipating we will have another loss of about 840,000, again, compared to 2019. We are assuming that we will receive the 743,000 from the county for its County Cares Municipal Relief Program. The chief has submitted our application, and it is well over the 743,000. So assuming everything goes right with that, we will receive those funds before the end of the year. We have included a 1.5% salary increase for all employees that are not on steps. And the only increase we've done for the fire and EMS contract at this point is I'm just assuming that the CPI increase, since that process is still being looked at by the fire task force. And the budgets already include our estimates on benefit increases and insurance increases. One other kind of positive note is that we did receive a 24,000 surplus distribution from West County Dispatch as being part of that consortium when they review their budget at the end of their fiscal year. That's our percentage that comes back to us. And looking at, starting to look at the 2021 recommended budget, these are all the funds, and you've seen this kind of spreadsheet before where I'm giving you our estimated 2021 beginning fund balance, our estimated revenues, our draft recommended budget, any transfers in and out. And then that shows you the change in the fund balance and our estimated ending fund balance. So different than most years is this change in fund balance. At least in the general fund, our goal has always been to keep that as a positive number so that we aren't spending more than the revenue coming in. I think it's pretty obvious why we can't do that for 2021. So it shows the reductions for each one of the funds. I would note just the 211,000 moving from the public art to Parks and Stormwater Fund. The auditors did recommend this change. They said that any funds that were not, it's not a requirement to have those in the separate fund, so they really needed to be combined with the Parks and Stormwater Fund. We will still be able to track any specific donations for specific donations that are supposed to go to specific projects or programs. We can still do that within the Parks and Stormwater Fund. So I wanted to go over a little bit the revenues. So in this, we're comparing the 2019 revenues to the 2020 estimates. So you can see the decreases total up to about 2.3 million. About 1.4 million of that is sales tax. And then the rest is split, as we've talked a little bit before, decreases in permit fees, gross receipts, some business licenses, certainly the program and rental fees coming in through the Parks Department, those are all lower. And then I also wanted to compare the 2021 revenues to the 2020 estimate. So you can see that we are improving, estimating, projecting that we will improve in 2021, but we're not back, obviously, to where we were even at the end of 19. But I do see some increases. Hopefully we'll see more, but we're starting to see the sales tax coming back a little bit. And just to point out that these revenues are without any grants in here. So I didn't want the grants to skew the other revenue estimates so that you can see them a little bit cleaner. Shifting over to the expenditure, I'm sorry, we're still on revenues here. So again, just a note comparing the 2019 to the 2021, just to note that we aren't back to the 2019 level. We still have, we're still down from where we were there, and about probably more than half of that is sales tax. Shifting over to the expenditure side, I wanted to show the difference between the 2020 budget and our 2020 estimate. And this is based on when we started looking at March, when we saw that the revenues, the sales tax was being affected by the shutdowns of the businesses, the stay-at-home orders. So we started looking at what could be deferred, cut, just held on to and not spent in 2020. So this shows you the reductions that we are projecting. Most of this, of course, in the other funds other than the general fund are related to large projects. And then comparing the 2021 draft budget to the 2020 estimated budget, we were showing a 2.3% increase in the general fund. And we'll go into what is included in those budgets shortly. And then we have projects, both new projects in the road fund and the stormwater, parks and stormwater fund, and those deferred projects, projects that were deferred from 2020. The general fund budget, current draft recommendations is just over 10.5 million. The 2020, as we noted on the prior slide, the 2020 budget reductions were about 200,000. And those were things like the salary reductions, overtime, travel, training, converting the newsletter from being mailed out, paper, mailed out to electronic, and numerous other little cuts. Also, a cut in the legal costs in trying to keep those restrained a bit to save some funds. So what I project our 2020 ending fund balance with the CARES grant, assuming we get the full CARES grant, we should end up at the end of 2020 with almost about 7.6 million, or 74% fund balance ratio. If we don't get the CARES funding for some reason, that'll obviously drop down. The ending 2021 fund balance, I estimate it'll be about 6.4 million, or 60% of the ratio will be about 60%. And then looking forward just through 2023, just to kind of show you the trend. Obviously it's going down, but it looks like without any, any major changes in expenditures, and of course without any new revenue sources, we'll be at about 4.2 million, or 38% of our fund balance. Our fund balance will be at about 38% of our expenditures. And we've continued quite a few budget reductions into the 2021 budget. One of those is the branch chipping that we didn't even get into the 2020 budget to begin with. We still won't have that in the 2020 budget, won't be in the 2021 budget. Cutting back overtime, training, meetings, again, legal services, some audit contract support, publications in the court reporter, again, the newsletter, and continuing to hold open while we can any vacant positions. This is just a visual interpretation of what we just kind of went through, and it shows obviously the fund balance going down here to about 38%, where we're back in 2018 at 81%. Red line is the expenditures, blue line are the revenues. The 2021 recommended road fund budget is just under 2 million. Assumptions are we won't need any transfers from the capital fund for 2021, but we will need those in years going forward. The Topping Road project, we have split between the road fund and the Parks and Stormwater Fund. We also, obviously, then will also split the reimbursement that comes in back in to the funds for the grant reimbursement. So the overlay portion of that project will be paid out of the Road and Bridge Fund, and the trail and stormwater portion will be out of the Parks and Stormwater Fund. Projects and programs that are not included in the 2021 road fund. The deer management program, we have no budget in there currently for deer management, except for additional funding for the contract for the pickup of dead deer, which we assume will be probably needed a little bit more in 2021. And 2022, we anticipate then that those funds that we will need to have an even larger budget than normal in 2022 to make up for the culling that was not done in 2021. Again, no traffic studies are in the budget for next year. Programs and projects that were deferred from 2020 and are in the 2021 budget, the pavement marking, road sealing. Those things were supposed to be done in 2020 and we did not do them. Program and project reductions, we have reduced the budget for snow removal. That's hit or miss. It'll depend on the weather and what we can do to reduce the costs on that. We've also reduced the amount of street right-of-way maintenance that we intend to do. What is in the budget, though, is $260,000, approximately $261,000, anticipation of having to reimburse the federal government for the federal grant funds that we've received for the Clayton Ballast project. And the anticipated ending fund balance for 2020, 2021, and 2023 for the road fund. The capital fund draft recommendation is 1.2 million. Again, the assumption is we do not need to transfer funds from capital into the road fund this year, but we'll need to moving forward. The projects that are included in 2021, citywide IT infrastructure upgrade, the police department building renovations and firehouse roof repairs, continue the police vehicle replacement, and we've added funds to we've added additional funds for the replacement of the IT contract. Realize I'm running out of time here, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. The grounds care contract was reduced for 2021. That's across all funds, and other landscaping budgets were also reduced. Projects that have been deferred out to 2022 or beyond from the capital fund or the public works maintenance facility, the municipal center conference room renovations and firehouse upgrades. And our estimated fund balances for that fund. The Parks and Stormwater Fund budget recommendation is 2.3 million. We discussed the Topping Road already. Things that were removed from the budget, from the 2021 budget, tree planting, Drace Park landscaping, Nature Explore upgrades. Projects that moved from 20 to 2021 was the playground design to support a grant request that we would like to do for 2022. Fire and ice, erosion control, Longview. Again, some of the things that are not as were not as pressing in 2020, but we feel they need to be in 2021. Tree removal, improving and pruning. Some tuck pointing and paver replacement, overlay, the rail replacement is a fairly large project, and then the Drace Park trail sealing. Some other things included in the 2021 Parks and Stormwater Fund, Topping Road, as we discussed, a start for the Mason Road Trail Phase 1, which is a portion north of Clayton Road, the Drace Park parking lot repairs, Topping Road Stormwater, and then some other stormwater projects, leaving us with a fund balance. Those fund balances as the end of 2020, 2021, and significantly reduced 2023. And I think I almost made it in my time.
Thank you very much. Two things are jump off the page at to me with respect to this presentation. The first is we are very, very fortunate to have Ms. Wright and her talents serving this city, supported by Mr. Shelton, Ms. McNamara, and others on our administrative team. We are in a better place because of their thoughtful work and guidance, and I, for one, am very much appreciative of their work. The other thing that jumps out at me is that through it all, we are still able to offer, we've had no furloughs, no staff reductions, and we are proposing a 1.5% salary increase during these difficult times. Now is not the time to be asking our staff to, like they did last year, make further adjustments for the benefit of our city. They have served us well, and we are in a good place as a result. Net, at the end of 2021, we're talking about a reserve requirement of approximately 60% of an annual year's operating expenses in our general fund, $6.4 million, and that has got to be the envy of this region. We are in a good place by virtue of the thoughtful planning and strategic work of this board and the professional staff that serve this city. So we're in a good place. We wish we were not, we wish we were better, but we have, we've done it as best we can under these very difficult circumstances. More to come on the budget. And this, as I started the remarks, I'll conclude them that this was an early presentation to make sure that you have at least as current an information as is available. And the Ways and Means Commission will get to work this Friday. They have materials or will have materials shortly, and will be making a recommendation to the board. I'd like to proceed very quickly because we're almost out of time with our regular meeting agenda. I'm going to shorten this process. I'm going to, until somebody speaks up and stops me, which I would encourage you to do if you have something on your mind of significance, then I'm going to just move through this agenda quickly so that we can get our meeting as close to on as possible. I'm assuming the minutes are fine. I will talk about hearings from citizens. Alderman Weezahan.
In regards to I'm sorry, a little ahead, but the public hearing, I just want to let you know that I was going to be recusing myself from.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We're going to take those public hearings, and we'll recognize your recusal. Thank you, Alderman Weezahan. We're going to take public hearings on the regulation of fences and planned development districts this evening. You've talked, I have heard nothing in response to my proposed appointment of Cassie Harold from Ward 1 to the Parks and Trails Commission. I'd appreciate your support tonight on that. I'm announcing my intent to seek your support in 2 weeks' time for the appointment of Kip Underwood as an at-large member. He lives in Ward 3 to the Public Works Commission. If you have any concerns about them, please call me. Under unfinished business, we're going to deal with the Pope Road subdivision covenants or indentures this evening. I believe Ryan Kerner will be on the phone with us. That is a resolution. Alderman Holman, Alderman Hughes, is that ready to go this evening?
I believe so.
Yes.
Thank you. we'll recognize Don Rocco and his involvement for the purposes of the record and to the extent he wishes to contribute. We've got the board as a whole on the election in terms of the city clerk. I'm assuming that's fine. We're going to first read the fence regulations. I could use a sponsor, please.
I'd like to sponsor that, please.
I would too, and I'll be coming forward with the amendment at the next meeting.
As would I.
Does the board as a whole want that?
I think that's a great idea.
Everybody okay?
It's fine.
Same question with respect to the planned residential community. I understand you're going to recuse Alderman Weezahan, so I won't ask for that to be sponsored as a board of the whole. But who would like to sponsor that? Alderman
Grouchy,
Holman.
Holman,
Whitmire.
Holman,
I'm going to go with everybody but Alderman Weezahan. How's that?
yes.
Madam Clerk, you will make that notation. I will reference it as such. We're going to first read the same question with respect to the architectural review component. Are you okay with that, Alderman Weezahan?
Yep.
All right, so that'll be board as a whole. And then the CARES Act funding, I'm assuming is board as a whole.
Yes.
Yes.
That Mr. Shelton's been spectacular on that effort in working with our friends at the Municipal League. We are picking up about $750,000 of those funding because it is being done on a per capita basis. There was a substantial effort over the late summer to change that, and it was a big success for the city. And thanks to Mr. Shelton for his work on that. Everybody okay with the warrant list?
Yes.
I'm okay with the warrant list. I just have a minor amendment to the minutes.
To the what, ma'am?
A minor amendment to our minutes.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, council, you don't need us in closed session this evening? Where are you? Mr. Gary?
Correct. Correct.
Very good. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Sorry for the rushed, but we spent the time.